Hey guys, welcome back to Gatsu Gaming. Today we are talking Demonology Warlock in BFA Pre-patch here. A lot has changed. So if you have not played Demonology Warlock at all during Legion, which honestly would not be a surprise at all, this is just going to be a brand new spec to you anyway. If you have played it, then this is going to look, slightly different, but most of the core gameplay is still here. One of the big changes, of course, is we no longer have that awful spell Demonic Empowerment, which is an absolute godsend to anyone that has played, anyone who has played Demonology at all during Legion. Most people are thrilled that that is gone, and I am definitely among that group of people. So taking a look here at the general talents you're probably going to want to take for pre-patch. If you're running Mythic Plus, I highly recommend this build here. I'm running Dreadlash. When your Dreadstalkers charge into battle, their Dreadbite attack now hits all targets within 8 yards and deals 25% more damage. This is just great because it is constantly up, you don't have to think about it, and it just makes your summon Dreadstalkers, even higher of a priority than it already is, which, to be completely fair, your Summon Dreadstalkers is probably your most important spell that you will be casting. It does a ton of your damage, and will basically, it sets you up for a lot of success. Next up here we have Demonic Calling. Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt have a 20% chance to make your next Call Dreadstalkers cost 1 less Soul Shard and have no cast time. Demonic Calling is absolutely great when you're going through and trying to set up for a really big Demonic Tyrant, which is our big cooldown right now, and once I get to gear, you'll understand why this talent is so important. Next up here we have Burning Rush. Burning Rush is here purely because it's mobility. In Mythic Plus you need to run around as quickly as possible. Warlock is fairly slow without this, so Burning Rush is kind of what you need most of the time. If you're running with a group where you'll be able to mount up and things like that, then Demon Skin or Dark Pact is definitely a choice. But I take Burning Rush for most dungeons just because of the extra mobility. Next here in the level 60 row, there's actually multiple choices. You can actually play any of these talents and it works out great. I'm using Summon Vile Fiend right now. He does quite a bit of damage. The reason I am running him is also paired with the same reason I'm running Demonic Calling, which we'll get to shortly. Soul Strike here, this lets you go ahead and this gives you a fairly strong attack from your Felguard and causes your Felguard basically to jump to wherever whatever mob you're targeting with it, your Felguard goes right there to hit them. It gives you a Soul Shard instantly on a 10-second CD. Soul Strike is great. Great. Awesome ability. You'll definitely see more of this being used in BFA. And then, of course, we have From the Shadows. Casting Call Dreadstalkers causes the target to take 20% additional Shadow Flame damage from you for the next 12 seconds. This is pretty much just a single target talent, which is fine. I mean, it's definitely good. But right now, with the way that we're playing the spec at the moment in pre-patch, From the Shadows just falls behind this Summon Vile Fiend. So level 75 row, I take Dark Fury pretty much all the time because I want that reduced cooldown on Shadow Fury. I'm primarily the person that is stunning in my groups right now because we're not running a Monk most of the time when I'm running. If I was running a Monk in the group at any point, then I would probably be taking Demonic Circle just for that extra teleport. Sometimes it's really, really useful. But Dark Fury is kind of my go-to at the moment. The level 90 row here, I'm wearing the Soul of the Netherlord, so I'm also getting Soul Conduit here. It's very important that I note that because people are like, how do you have 2 talents? That's crazy. The Soul of the Netherlord Legendary Ring gives you Soul Conduit, which just gives you a chance to have your Soul Shards refunded to smooth out your rotation. Super powerful. The talent choice here, regardless of if you have the ring or not, is Inner Demons. You passively summon a wild imp to fight for you every 12 seconds, and have a 10% chance to also summon an additional demon and fight for you for 15 seconds. This can summon all kinds of goofy things. Every once in a while you'll get like Prince Malchazar, or you can get like a Beholder sometimes. You can get all kinds of cool stuff. But Inner Demons is great, just gives you extra imps, and occasionally you get some really neat stuff too. So lastly here, because we are playing with an absolute horde of demons, we're playing with Sacrifice Souls. Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt deal 5% additional damage per demon you have summoned. Baseline, you're almost always going to have 3, because you have your Felguard and 2 imps. So it's always 15% additional damage. Added on to that, anything else you summon, which all of your Shard Spenders summon something. Sacrifice Souls is it just makes sense. Demonic Consumption is an option, although at this point with the build we're playing, this doesn't make any sense at all, so we're not going to run that. And Nether Portal is a raid talent that most likely we won't see being used until BFA raiding, just because of the consumption of soul shards and the playstyle with it. But it doesn't really lend itself to the tier set bonuses and things right now. So, moving over into the gearing, because gearing is kind of important for this. This Warlock is currently 238. I am running, I believe this character was about 960-ish before pre-patch happened. But we are running, you know, you want haste everywhere you can get it. This is the look-alike helmet for the Warlock tier, just has haste and mastery on it. Haste and mastery are typically our best stats. I'm running this neck piece here just because it has haste on it, has a socket and all that. Mark of the Claw is the neck enchant we want to go with. That's very important to have that one as opposed to the mastery one. Mastery has lost a lot of value, unless you are just constantly AoEing, in which case mastery does typically pull ahead of haste just a bit, but not enough that it's really worth gearing for it. So we are wearing our 4-piece tier. This is very important. They've changed the tier so it actually works with Demonology's changes, thankfully. Each soul shard you spent on Hand of Gul'dan increases the damage dealt by your next Call Dreadstalkers by 4%. This is super important because it makes your Call Dreadstalkers even more powerful, and then with that tier 1 talent that we have, it's going to add another 25% damage to the baseline as well. So you're getting a ton of extra damage on your Call Dreadstalkers. Now, the 4-piece bonus is your Hand of Gul'dan deals 10% additional damage. With Soul Conduit, you're going to get a bunch of extra Hands of Gul'dan, and you're just going to get a bunch of damage. So it just helps you out, you know, over and over again. The 4-piece is very important. If you don't have it, it is okay. You can play without it, but if you do have it, you're probably going to want to wear it. So as far as legendaries go, the one that's super important, the one you absolutely need to have, is Wilfred's Sigil of Superior Summoning. This is a haste mastery ring with a socket, of course. Put haste everywhere on it you can. Every time you summon a Dreadstalker or a Wild Imp, you reduce the remaining cooldown of your big cooldown Demonic Tyrant by 2 seconds. So, casting a Hand of Gul'dan at 3 soul shards, which is what you should be casting it at, that's going to net you 3 imps. 3 imps is 6 seconds off of the cooldown of Demonic Tyrant. Demonic Tyrant starts at 1.5 minutes. With your typical rotation and the pacing of most fights, you will actually then be sitting at around a 40 to 50 second cooldown on your big Demonic Tyrant. Demonic Tyrant, if you're not sure what that does, this is the new cooldown we have. It increases the duration of all of your current demons by 15 seconds, and increases the damage of your other demons by 15% while damaging your target. So very important that you only cast Demonic Tyrant on whatever, you know, needs to die, whatever your boss is probably, because it is very, very target specific, and it's very important you have it on the correct target. So with that, if you have, say, you know, 10 imps out, your Fellstalkers, and of course your Vile Fiend, Summon Vile Fiend does a lot of damage. He does even more damage whenever you up his duration by 15 seconds, which of course you will want weak ores for to make sure that you see how many demons you have before you cast your Demonic Tyrant. Basically just going to wago.io and clicking on the Demonology Warlock weak auras. Pretty much any of them will work. Find the one that works for you, whichever one you like to look up. I'm using, I believe it's FNR UI's weak aura. I just like this one. If you're a fan of Knott's work from the Warlock Discord, his is absolutely great as well. So, I'm going to run you through a quick little scenario here over here on a target dummy. These are level 80 dummies. There's the raid dummy. Alright, so, starting off on your rotation, it doesn't really matter what you start with. However, it is recommended that you precast a Shadow Bolt, and then drop your Call Dreadstalkers. From there, another Shadow Bolt, Hand of Gul'dan. Get yourself out to summon Vile Fiends, another Shadow Bolt, another Hand of Gul'dan, and then pop your Demonic Tyrant. Now, whenever you pop your Hand of Gul'dan and all that stuff, you're going to get all these imps. I do like to go up to 5 during this here because you don't actually get any more empowered on your current demons. It just kind of goes through and, It gets you everything you need there. So you're just going to go ahead and just keep casting. Keep casting. Make sure you use your demonic core procs. They're going to hit really, really hard. The more demons you have out, the more damage they do. Make sure you don't waste any of those. Make sure you pay attention to your Call Dreadstalker's CD. And just be sure you're planning on hitting those every chance you get. Now, as you can see, my Demonic Tyrant is already back up here. So we're going to cast that again. And there we go. And we just keep on going. And it just rolls like this. Any raid boss fight, this is what you're going to see. As you can see there, the cooldown on this just keeps going down. 45 seconds. Alright, so it's at 42. I cast again to Gul'dan, it's at 35. It just goes so quick. So quick. And you get through this so fast. And look at that, my Demonic Tyrant is almost back up here. My next Hand of Gul'dan is going to reset the cooldown. I can cast it again. Boom, another Demonic Tyrant. So that's 3 Demonic Tyrants there in, you know, a very, very short space of time. At that point, you're not even worried about maximizing each one. You just want to make sure you're casting it on cooldown, because it just comes back so quickly. You know, if you can, you want to maximize it, but it's not really the most important thing right now. With the way pre-patch is and with the general setup here, all you're really worried about is just making sure you get your demons out there as quickly as possible. As you can see here now, I'm going to get this again. Boom, there we go. Demonic Tyrant up again. It just keeps on going. It is crazy. Now, the damage from this is unfortunately not as high as I'm sure a lot of people would like. But given the idea that, you know, Blizzard probably doesn't want you to be, you know, an absolute nightmare to deal with in terms of balancing, they kind of tuned back Demo a little bit so it wouldn't be so absurd. But, you know, it's still very strong. It does enough damage that it is definitely worth bringing. And it's very fun to play. Like, I absolutely love playing this spec because I just get to summon demons constantly. You know, every time I stop casting something, boom, I have another demon to cast. And every time I turn around, boom, Dreadstalkers to go out. You know, make a couple of casts there. Oh, look, I can summon some more imps. Get that cooldown reduction going. You know, the spec is really fun. It plays super well. Now, of course, in pre-patch here, you know, we're going to have this super reduced cooldown on our Demonic Tyrant. We won't have that in Battle for Azeroth because that's just, you know, it's not a thing. But, you know, either way, it's still so much fun. There's just so much going on here that's an absolute blast. You know, this is a really, you know, this is like I have a little circle of imps around me. I've got 2 dogs up there. I've got my Tyrant. I've got the Vile Fiend. Just keep on summoning. So many imps, so much fire. It is awesome. Now you see there I lost a ton of imps at once. That is totally what happens here. It's all cyclical. And right there we go again. I got everything out, and it's just a ton of damage.
Fight, you pathetic imps!
So that, in general, guys, is Demonology Warlock here in the pre-patch. As you can see, just a ton of projectiles coming at us. You know, just absolutely crazy. Look at this. Steady stream of fire from those imps. They're going to fade away. This rotation is an absolute blast. Throw all my imps at it, why not? But there you have it, guys. That is Demonology Warlock here in the pre-patch. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, leave a like if you liked it. If you didn't, you know, dislike it. Toss me a sub if you haven't already. Check me out on Twitter. I'm over on Patreon too if you feel like supporting me. I will have a video coming up shortly with this UI. I have a couple of tweaks left to do on it here, but it is almost finished. But I will see you guys next time. Catch you later.